So hello and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Trish and I focus mostly on green beauty products, green beauty reviews, thoughts, reflections. You may have been brought here because I'm going to be talking today about my gray journey. I stopped dyeing my hair back on October 15th of 2019. So while this channel is pretty much solely dedicated to green beauty and green beauty products, I will be doing probably every 3 months or so an update on how I'm doing with my silvers and my silvers shining through. And as you can see, I have quite a bit more here. I have not been filming any videos since we have been on quarantine. So I think, I don't know, my last video might have been at the beginning of March. I'm actually not even sure. I didn't go back to check. So it has been a while. So excuse me if I am a little bit rusty here sitting in front of the camera. It feels a little awkward having been on such a long break. I don't really think I need to give much of an explanation as to why. I really just haven't been in the mood to sit down and film videos, but that just has been the case for me during quarantine. It's also a little bit hard with my two boys at home all the time, and my husband's home a lot more too. So first of all, I've been prioritizing spending time with family and being with them, but it's also hard for me to film with everybody in the house. And right now I have a moment to myself here in my home. So I thought I would just sit down and give you guys an update. I do have a video, I think it was the 2-month mark or the 3-month mark, I can't remember exactly, of when I gave you guys my first update on going gray. So I will put that up at the top here, and I will also link it below in the description box if you're kind of curious about my very first update, which is where maybe some of you guys are, because if you stopped dyeing your hair at the beginning of the quarantine, then you're probably at the spot where I was at for my first video. So do go check that out if you're interested. So just a quick little overview. I just wanted to talk about like practical things, like just practically what I'm doing with my hair. And 2 months after I stopped dyeing my hair, I did get more highlights. So you'll notice that I've got quite a bit of, blonde or, blonde comparative to my darker brown, which is in the back here. I did get quite a few highlights 2 months after I stopped. So that would have been in the middle of December, I believe, that I got all these highlights in. And that for me has really helped a lot, because if you watched my first video, I talked quite a bit about when I did my first attempt at going gray, maybe 3 years ago, I think it was. I had a hard time with that real line of demarcation. And so for me, the highlights have really, really helped a lot with that. And I actually just kind of like how it looks too. So I don't mind the two-tone here so much with the gray moving into the blonde. When I did try to go gray the first time, my hair just overall was a lot darker. And what I did kind of intentionally is over probably a year and a half leading up to my going gray, or stopping covering my roots, I did have my colorist intersperse lighter, or not as extreme highlights, but she did put in some highlights, so my hair was lighter when I decided to go gray, if that makes sense. So just to start out with, my hair wasn't quite as dark, and I do think that has helped me as well. So I would say before the quarantine started, before I knew where we were going to be at, my next plan was at 4.5 months to get, or 4.5 months in, was to get even more highlights. So when I went in, I realized I didn't really want more highlights. I'm happy with the amount that I have. So what I did instead was I got an ashy blonde toner put on, which, to be honest, I didn't really notice a difference. So unfortunately, that was kind of money wasted. I think it maybe, kind of gave me a little bit of a gloss and probably helped smooth my hair out a little bit, but color-wise, I didn't really notice a difference. What I was thinking about doing that day when I was in at the salon just before quarantine, or actually, I guess it kind of was just before quarantine. I think it was the end of February. So not quite just before, but I was 4.5 months into my journey. And what I was really thinking strongly of doing was, instead of getting the ashy blonde toner or gloss, I think is what they call it, I was going to get silver. But then I chickened out because I realized that that would be really extreme. So all this blonde here would have just turned a really dark silver, and I thought that that might just be too shocking for me. I just wasn't ready to go gray or silver that fast. I'm actually liking the very gradual process. I know for a lot of people, they want it to be quick and just just get it over with and have it happen really fast. But for me, I think the slow process is actually working to my benefit because it's allowing me to get used to it. One thing that I will say, oh, and just to also let you know, I'm almost at 7.5 months. So between 7 and 7.5 months right now today of not dyeing my roots. And just to be clear, if you didn't watch my first video, I have not touched my grays at all with any kind of permanent color. So when I did get my highlights, the stylist met it right to the point of where the grays were. So I have not done any kind of permanent, semi-permanent color over my grays. I've only done either a toner, which ends up washing out after a few weeks, or I have a purple shampoo and a purple conditioner by Davines. They are not a green beauty brand, but they are very into sustainability and being as environmentally friendly as possible. If you want to check out their website, they have some interesting programs. But anyway, I actually have not used the purple shampoo or the purple conditioner for probably the last 2 or 3 times that I have washed my hair. So what you're seeing is truly my gray. I mean, the toner is completely gone that I did back at the end of February. And then I don't think I have any remnants of purple shampoo or purple conditioner in my hair right now. So that's kind of the update there. I think I was talking about how the gradualness has actually worked to my favor, just sort of psychologically, because I'm not ready for it to be just overnight. I know that really works for some people, especially people who have enjoyed like just, either going really short and letting the grays come in right away, or getting the dye job where they just are gray overnight, basically. But I don't think that would really work for me. When I pull my hair back, I think I showed this to you guys in the first video, my hair looks pretty much all gray. And seeing my hair back like this, or when I pull my hair back in a ponytail, I am still getting used to that. I am not used to seeing my hair pulled back. Yeah, just to be honest, that still freaks me out. So now let's get to the psychology part of it, or how I'm feeling emotionally about going gray. So there are days where I'm totally fine, no big deal. Like today, looking at myself in the viewfinder, not like, oh my God, I'm crazy in love with this. I'm so happy I have this silver streak. I love it more than I did when I didn't. I can't say I feel that way about it, but like I said, looking at myself in the viewfinder, I'm totally fine with it. This situation here is not freaking me out. Like I said, I like kind of this two-tone situation going on. It's fine. But when I do pull my hair back and it just looks like my whole head of hair is gray, I'm still getting used to it. Yeah, and it's not even necessarily because I feel like I look older. It's just so different. I mean, I'm not looking in the mirror and being like, oh my God, I look like I'm, suddenly 20 years older and, I should have grandchildren running around my house or anything like that. And again, not like that's bad, but that would just be like a quick, jump in my, my developmental stage in life. So it's not like I feel like that. It's just like a big shift. It would be almost like I just bleached my whole head blonde, which is something I've never done. I've never drastically changed my hair color. So it's just, I'm having to get used to it, and it's challenging. It's not easy. And thankfully, I mentioned this in my first video, thankfully my husband is completely on board. Whenever I start to get kind of jittery about it, he's just like, no, it looks great. You go natural. I love the natural. And My kids are super supportive. So thankfully I've got support at home. Nobody has really said that much in terms of like my friends and everything. I have a couple friends who are super supportive, so that's really helpful. So that's really all I can say about it. It's not a really easy road, I guess, just for me. I have my ups and downs. One thing I think I have mentioned before is, before I dyed my hair, before I stopped dyeing my hair, when I was dyeing my hair, I had good days and bad days. So there would be days that I would wake up and I would feel like I looked really old. I have bags under my eyes from eating too much salt the night before, or, just days where you're just not feeling cute, or you just feel like you look older, or whatever the case may be. I have to remind myself that I had those days when I was dyeing my hair, and sometimes I would dye my hair and I didn't really like it, or it wasn't quite jiving with me. And, I just got to remind myself of those times, because there are days here, when with my grays, where I feel good about it and it's fine. And then there are other days where I'm not so good with it, but that's just life. And again, I did not go back and watch my first video, so this might be sort of repetitive, but I'm going to repeat it again, because I feel like that's a really, really important point, is that no matter what your hair color is, or what size you are, or whatever, you're always going to have those days where some days you're feeling good about yourself and some days you're not, and it really doesn't matter if you're growing out your grays. So that's how I feel about that. The other thing I want to mention too that was really powerful for me, and which I don't think I mentioned in my first video, is a while back I was watching an Instagram story. I cannot for the life of me remember whose account this was on. It's not somebody I follow or somebody who I watch regularly, so I cannot give her credit, but she was talking about the whole body positivity movement, which I think is great. It's fantastic. It resonates with a lot of people. But she mentioned for her that rather than body positivity, the thing that really resonates with her is just body neutrality. So rather than looking in the mirror and, hating your body, which obviously is bad, or trying to get yourself to love your body, because she kind of felt like that didn't feel authentic either. And she was, from what I remember, she was talking about how feeling like then she had to go from hating her body to then loving her body. That felt like that was a whole other job that she was trying to force herself to feel, was to just feel neutral about her body. So looking in the mirror and just being like, yeah, that's my body. I don't feel like it's, good or bad. It's just what it is. And so that actually was really empowering for me, just, on a body neutrality level. But I've also tried to transfer that onto my hair. So rather than feeling like, oh yeah, this is amazing, I love my silver hair, I'm totally embracing it, which I see a lot of people doing, which is great. And I'm not saying I don't think they're telling the truth, but I'm just not quite there. And I feel like that's okay. And I also, I don't hate it, and I don't want to hate it. And I don't say that, I'm not saying that I hate it, but there are just days where I don't really love it either. So what I'm trying to do is when I look in the mirror, I'm trying to just be gray neutral. So I just look in the mirror and I'm just like, yep, that's what it is. It's just my hair. That's all it is. It's just hair. And I'm just trying to be very neutral about it and not try to assign any kind of value judgment on it, because it just is what it is. And I really, really don't think I'm going to dye my hair again, or start covering my roots again, I should say. I mean, I might. I'm not holding myself to any hard and fast truths or, promises, I guess I should say. But I really, now that I've gone so long without covering my grays, I just really can't imagine doing it again. So because of that, I just want to be neutral about it. I don't want to force myself to love it when I'm not loving it, but I also don't want to hate it because I don't want to go back to dyeing my hair, or again, covering my roots, to be more specific, because I do think that I might do some toners. I think it would be fun to kind of play around with some different colors, like, I don't know, pinks or purples, or I've seen some fun kind of like ombre colors going on, but those are things that are going to wash out in 2 to 3 weeks. So nothing permanent, because it really has been very, freeing. All the things that people talk about kind of in the, the hashtag Silver Sisters movement. It really is true to just be free of feeling like you've got to get to the salon, being kind of a slave to that, spending all that money, and knowing too that I'm not using those dyes, which, we throw that word toxic around. I mean, I really do feel like some of it is toxic. Those ingredients in the dyes are toxic. And I'm sure that some of it does, seep through your scalp. So it feels good to not have that going on in my life anymore as well. So that really is it. I don't have a whole lot more to say because I'm not really doing a whole lot with my gray hair right now. I do have an appointment coming up in June. I don't know if that's going to stay on the books by the salon because I don't know if salons are going to open at the beginning of June because of the quarantine. And frankly, even if it does open up, I'm not even sure that there's anything I want them to do for me at the salon. I'm not gonna put any more highlights in, and I don't really know if I even want a toner. The only thing really I feel like I need to do for my hair coming up is maybe just kind of a deep conditioning mask, because the gray hairs are maybe a little bit more like frizzy. I wouldn't say they feel coarser, but they are a little bit more on the frizzy side. So I think that me at home, I can do that myself, like either an oil treatment overnight or just for a few hours and shampoo it out. I've never really done that before, so I might play around with that and see if that kind of helps smooth things out. So that's where I'm at. I hope this is helpful for you all. If you have any specific questions, please don't hesitate to ask. You can also find me over on Instagram at Green Beauty Trish. And please feel free to DM me if you want to ask me a more private question about anything, but specifically regarding letting your grays fly. So yeah, I hope that some of that resonated with you all. Hope it makes the process a little bit easier, and no judgments on wherever you're at. If you're dyeing your grays, not dyeing your grays, whatever, I think it's all good, and just hope that this is helpful for some of you out there. So I don't know when I'm going to be doing another video. It's really uncertain here in terms of my, mood is kind of a strong word, but just in terms of where I'm at with filming. But I hope to see you all soon. I hope to get more on a regular basis, but I will definitely be giving you another gray update in the next 2 to 3 months. So hope you all are staying happy and healthy, and I will see you in that next video. Bye.